On April 26, 1986, reactor number 4 of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded, releasing radioactive material into the night sky. It was one of the worst nuclear disasters in human history. But what if it had been even worse? What if the explosion had triggered a chain reaction across the entire plant, unleashing destruction on a scale far beyond what we know? This alternate history explores a world on the edge of collapse. In this alternate reality, the explosion doesn't just shatter reactor number 4. It ignites a chain reaction across the plant. Within minutes, the nearby city of Pripyat, home to nearly 50,000 people, is devastated by shock waves and firestorms. Apartment blocks collapse, schools and hospitals burn, and radiation fills the air. Thousands die instantly, while survivors stagger into the streets unaware that every breath is lethal. Unlike our reality, where only one reactor exploded, here the fire spreads to all 4. Each reactor core ruptures, spewing radiation hundreds of times greater than Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined. The release of nuclear material contaminates the air, soil, and rivers of Ukraine within hours. Kiev, only 130 kilometers away, becomes uninhabitable by morning. Millions are forced to evacuate, turning the capital into the largest ghost city in human history. The fallout doesn't stop at Ukraine's borders. Winds carry the radioactive plume across Poland, Germany, France, and Scandinavia. By the second week, the entire continent is poisoned. Crops die, rivers become toxic, and livestock collapses in the fields. Governments panic as millions face radiation poisoning. European leaders declare martial law. The dream of a united Europe collapses into chaos and fear. In our reality, Chernobyl weakened the USSR. In this alternate world, it destroys it. Radiation reaches Moscow and Leningrad, sparking panic. Propaganda loses power as people die in the streets. Refugees flood westward, while republics like Ukraine, Belarus, and the Baltics declare independence early. The Soviet Union crumbles in 1986–87, not through politics, but through riots, revolutions, and civil war. As radiation spreads, millions flee Eastern Europe. Refugee columns stretch across Poland, Hungary, and beyond. Camps form along borders, overcrowded and desperate. Western countries close their borders, fearing contamination. Disease, starvation, and unrest spread through the camps, creating the largest humanitarian crisis of the 20th century. The disaster shakes the world. Contaminated exports spread panic in Asia and America. International trade collapses, global markets crash. In this timeline, nuclear energy is banned worldwide. Scientific progress stalls as nations abandon technology in fear. Humanity enters a new dark age, not of ignorance, but of paralyzing caution. By 1990, much of Eastern Europe is uninhabitable. Kiev, Minsk, and vast regions of Belarus and Ukraine are wastelands. Entire countries become exclusion zones. Forests reclaim the cities, wildlife mutates under radiation, and human settlement vanishes. The heart of Europe becomes a scar, larger and deadlier than any plague in history. In our world, Chernobyl is a warning and a symbol of resilience. In this alternate history, it is the end of modern progress. By 2025, Eastern Europe remains a wasteland. Global population is millions smaller. Technology is decades behind. The internet arrives late, space exploration slows, and humanity lives in fear of repeating another catastrophe. Civilization survives, but in the shadow of Chernobyl. Chernobyl was already one of humanity's darkest hours. But if it had been worse, the world as we know it might not exist. A disaster on this scale could have ended not just a city or a country, but the future of human civilization. What do you think would have happened if the Chernobyl disaster had spiraled completely out of control? Could humanity have survived? Or would we be living in an entirely different world today?